So, I live in an apartment complex, right next to a 7-Eleven, literally a 2-minute walk from my door. So, since all this quarantine lockdown mess, I've been staying up later than usual, till maybe 2 or 3 a.m. most nights. So, last night, a little after 12, I had a taste for some chips, and decided I'll just go across the street to 7-Eleven, which I go to on a regular basis. So I make my way over, and on my way in, I had to pass this man who was browsing the REDBOX. I don't think much of it. I go inside, get some snacks, pay, and head out the door. As I'm coming out, the REDBOX man is literally staring dead at me with these scarily bright light blue eyes. But not wanting to freak myself out even more, I say to myself, maybe he's zoned out and deep in thought. I wander into La La Land myself sometimes, so by thinking that, I was trying to make myself more comfortable having to walk past this strange man. So I'm headed back into my apartment complex, which on this side of the street has a creaky gate door. I realized as I was walking I never heard a slam behind me, like I always have before. I look back, and this man is right behind me. Not close up on me, but still, definitely following. Once again, trying to ease my mind, I'm thinking he must be going home. But I also noticed he didn't have any disc in his hand for as much time as he was at the REDBOX the whole time I was in the store, taking my sweet, indecisive time. So, not wanting to come off as scared, I keep my same pace. But I probably should have sprinted because screw being nice. Anyways, I'm literally just a few steps away from my door, which is upstairs, and the man randomly calls out to me, "Hey, do you have a lighter?" Out of instinct, I turned my head to the fact that I knew someone was speaking to me and responded, "No, I don't, sorry." I didn't want to just go upstairs because I didn't want to let this man know exactly which apartment I live in. So I was planning on walking around until I lost him, but he asked me another question. "Could I use your bathroom?" I tell him, "No, sorry, my roommates probably wouldn't be comfortable with me letting someone in this late." I don't have roommates, but I damn sure didn't want this man getting any ideas thinking I was by myself. I keep walking, but this man was still following me. I simply ask, "Do you live around here?" And he tells me, "I have a buddy that does, and he was supposed to meet me across the way there, but maybe he fell asleep. I never been here before, but I do know his door is 201. Could you help me find it?" 201 is my door. Plus, if you have a friend that lives over here, why are you asking to use my bathroom? I knew this man was lying, and was definitely up to something. I quickly came up with 201. That should be right past the pool, right next to the laundry area. My friends are waiting for me, so I should get going. My gut told me to head to my car though, because what if he watched where I was going and decided to give me a surprise later on? No, I watched too many movies and read too many stories uploaded on here. So I started heading towards the parking lot, not running, but definitely walking quicker than before, when I realized the man is chasing me at this point. I hurry up and pull my keys out of my pocket and get in my car and immediately lock the doors. The man starts pounding on my driver window, telling me to open the door, bitch. I can't help but focus on those creepy blue eyes, but I also notice he was reaching for his pocket. I start up my car before I can see what it is he's going to pull out. I heard a pop, but I didn't give a crap at that moment, as long as I could get the hell out of his presence. I drove maybe about 5 minutes down the street to this Arco gas station and called the police. Waiting on the police to arrive, I noticed what the popping sound was. This wacko popped my back tire with probably a switchblade. Of course, when the police arrived and went to check the area, the man was gone. They did question the 7-Eleven clerk, and he let them know that the man has been up there a few times since last week and never has been a problem, but is obviously homeless. I'm still shook up about what went on last night, and I'm going to chill on a late night trips to 7-Eleven for a while. To the messed up REDBOX man, let's not meet again. But if we do, I have a taser for that ass on its way from Amazon. Try me. Okay, so this happened earlier tonight, and I know it's not very extreme, but I'm quite freaked out, and I really just want to get this out of my system. So, here we go. So, I'm a fairly small human with a very large dog. I'm about 5'1", female, and pretty skinny, and my dog is an Akita, around 100 pounds, and probably stronger than me if she ever actually tried. We go for walks twice a day, every day, for about 3 miles each, and one of these is at night. We live in the middle of a metropolitan area, so there's a lot of hotels, stores, and restaurants all over the place, and there is always people out and about. I've never felt unsafe walking around our area with my large dog, especially since with all these businesses comes regularly patrolling police cars and several private security agencies all around. We've lived here for nearly 3 years, walking every day and night without a single problem. On to tonight. We left for a normal walk, and while the streets are far less crowded, there are still some people out. We were about a mile from our apartment building when I walked past a man standing next to a convenience store in a dark gray hoodie. A lot of the homeless population around here sit outside of the convenience stores regularly, so I didn't initially think anything of it. We stepped to the edge of the sidewalk so that we would be about 6 feet away and intended to just walk past, but the man started to follow us and talk to me. He asked me about my dog at first. This is a very common question for us because she's not a well-known breed, and she is very beautiful, if somewhat intimidating animal. Unfortunately, in this instance, intimidating doesn't translate to aggressive. I answered that she is an Akita and continued to walk, keeping a good amount of distance between myself and the man, whom I will now call CG. CG starts asking why I'm walking away from him and specifically says that that's rude because we're old friends. I looked at him to make sure I wasn't wrong and said loudly, "No, I don't know you." I start walking faster and cross the street because I could see police lights flashing not far up the street. Sometimes the patrol cars will leave their lights on when there is no one in them. I'm not sure why, but that was the case here. I walked much more quickly towards the light, with CG following me, telling me I'm being mean and calling me Ashley over and over. To be clear, my name is not Ashley. While there was no security guard in the car, there were a few other people around. So I turned around and yelled again, "I don't know you, leave me alone." CG stopped walking towards me, but I heard him mumble something else about whoever Ashley is. At this point, I really just wanted to get home as quickly as possible, because I was a little bit panicked. This man was much taller than me, and fairly large, at least compared to me, so it made me very nervous that he had been following me. I decided to take an indirect route home that would take me away from the street I was currently on that CG had been sitting on originally. I was a few more blocks away down a different street when I saw him again. I had been keeping an eye out behind me to see if he followed, but no, he had crossed the street and was in front of me. I don't know if he had been hoping I wouldn't notice and would walk up to him or what. I think that must be it because CG had put a bandana over his face and had pulled up the hood, but I recognized the jacket in the frame and it was for sure the same guy. To get home, I would have to cross the street and walk right towards him. Instead, I crossed the street parallel to where he was, and he did as well, then continued to walk towards me, and started shouting, calling me Ashley again. I didn't hear a lot of what he said, but I turned and ran with my dog in the other direction. About a block away was a hotel, so I walked into the lobby and right up to the front desk. The front desk worker could tell something was wrong because I was clearly just trying not to cry. I apologized for bringing my dog in, but said that someone had been following me, and I wanted to know if I could wait here and call the police. The worker was very kind and walked me to the glass door and asked me which man it was. I couldn't see him anymore in the direction from which I had come, so for a moment I thought CG had left, but no, he was at the other end of the parking entrance, hood down now, but standing against the wall, as if he was just waiting. The worker said I could wait as long as I needed, and he called the police from the hotel phone. I think they had the non-emergency line written down, and since he hadn't technically done anything but yell and follow me around for a while, I agreed that the non-emergency line was probably the right choice. A cruiser showed up fairly soon though, and I pointed out CG to the cops who was still just waiting there against the wall. Technically, I couldn't prove he'd done anything illegal, but the cops went and told him that he needed to leave the property as he was trespassing. They waited for him to leave, and then gave me and my dog a ride back to my apartment building to make sure he didn't continue to follow us and find out where we lived. I don't know who CG or who Ashley is, but let's not meet. And I hope Ashley doesn't meet him either. This story gives me the chills, and is the sole reason why I'm terrified of using public restrooms. I was at an indoor sports center with my family. My family and I were there to support and cheer on my brother, who was playing soccer. I was sitting in the stands and told my mom I had to pee. She immediately grabbed my hand and was ready to go there with me. I told my mom I wanted to go alone, and she quickly responded and said, "Are you sure?" with a surprised look on her face. This is an important detail because it highlights how young I was. I cannot remember my exact age. However, I remember that this was my first time asking to go to the public bathroom alone, without my mom holding my hand and making sure that I got there and back safely. Anyways, this was a big step for me and my mom, trusting me, and she let me go ahead without her. So, here's the most creepy and traumatizing part of the story. I walk into the bathroom. It's extremely quiet considering there is nobody in close proximity. So quiet, you could hear a pin drop. There were 4 stalls. I immediately go into one of the stalls. I pull down my pants, sit on the toilet, and start to pee. I then hear the slightest yet subtle noise. I know exactly where the noise is located, directly above me. Immediately, I feel like something is off and that I'm not alone. I felt a wave of darkness rush through me. My head slowly looks up towards the noise, and I see a man. The man is looking directly at me. He's in the vent that is directly above me in the toilet I'm sitting on. However, the vent cover is completely removed. He is looking through an empty, square hole in the ceiling. He clearly removed the cover himself, making his view of me clearly visible. The man is looking down at me. No clear expression on his face, but he doesn't move. We lock eyes. I then look away from the man and towards the door. There are 2 options that run through my child mind. 1, pretend I don't see him. Maybe he will believe me if I just act casual. 2, run. I act to go with option 1. I think to myself and say, okay, just act natural. It's going to be okay. Remain calm. I then think to myself, what the hell are you doing? Get out of here. I then open the door and run for my life and get out of the bathroom and run down the empty hallways to get away. Regretfully, I did not tell my mom or anybody else about this incident. Once I got back to the soccer field, my mom asked me, "How did it go?" with so much excitement in her voice. I was in such tremendous shock that the only thing I could respond was, "Good." My mom kissed me on my forehead and was so proud of me. Not telling anyone about this is hands down my biggest regret. The creep got away with watching me and likely many other girls and women. I should have told my mom, who would have contacted the police, who could have caught that creep. Maybe I was too young and immature to fully understand what had happened. I don't know. But this breaks my heart. I didn't tell a soul. Creepy sir who traumatized a young, innocent child. I hope we never meet again. This story happened to me when I was a kid, and it is probably one of the creepiest stories I have to tell. I think I was about 9 or 10 when this happened. It was definitely my birthday because we had the party at a nearby park. I think it had been raining, but I was still excited that it was my birthday. We all had a good time, and me and my brother opened our presents and ate cake. The only day kids love as much as their birthday is Christmas, and I was really happy with all the presents my friends have gotten me. By the time the party was over, it had stopped raining and the sun was starting to come out. We picked up everything and put the presents in the car. Then we started to drive back home. The exit to the rather large park we had been at goes through this big fancy metal gate and opens out to a circular intersection. We pulled into the intersection and took a left turn towards the state highway. This might be important later. Everything seemed so nice and normal at first, until we stopped at a crosswalk down the road from my street. I noticed my dad looking into the rearview mirror, and he muttered something to my mom. We kept driving and turned down my street, then into my driveway. I unbuckled and turned around to see what was the matter. I watched as my dad walked to a red car, maybe a sedan or a Prius, and spoke to the lady driving it. We all watched as she sped away. I remember getting really scared, and my mom brought me and my brothers inside while my dad called the cops. An officer arrived at our house shortly, and my dad told him what had been happening. Apparently, when we stopped at the crosswalk, he noticed the lady in the car behind ours filming us. He watched to see if she was following us, which she was, of course. When he got home and he approached her, all she said was, "I got what I want." The officer assured us that a lot of people like to film the stuff around them, as this was the time when cameras like GoPros were becoming popular. To this day, I'm still not sure why exactly that lady filmed us. Maybe we cut her off at the intersection, or she didn't notice us stopping at the light ahead, braking just in time to prevent a fender bender and blaming it on us. We never heard anything of her again, but I sometimes wonder if she'll come back. So, to the creepy lady who filmed my family on my birthday, let's not meet.